So, my boyfriend and I recently celebrated our 2-year anniversary. My boyfriend has two best friends who live in a different country, and they've never met. For our anniversary, I gave him a cute card with the message that I'll be paying for his plane ticket to meet his best friends. He was really happy and asked if I would be joining. I told him that if he and his friends want to, I can join. I also got a text from his best friend asking the same, and I also told him that. That was a month and a half ago. Nothing has been booked yet, because they didn't want to rush anything. I have been looking for fun things to do alone, and with the whole group, because I wanted to give my boyfriend and his best friends time with just the three of them. I planned on going to a musical that I really wanted to see for the past few years, and I planned to go to some historical locations. I was really excited. Yesterday, he told me that he and his friends have been talking about it, and they actually would rather do the trip with just the three of them and not let the girlfriends join. My boyfriend feels really guilty now because he previously told me that I can join, and we've been talking a lot about the things we can do on the trip. I just told him what I told him earlier, that I'll go if he and his friends want me to. To be honest, it feels really shitty that I've been told I can go and got all hyped up, and now hearing that they don't want me to join. Although I get it. I told my parents that I won't be joining the trip after all. They think it's not okay that I'm paying for the trip and not going while previously being told I would. What do you all think? Edit. Since a lot of you told me that I could go on the trip alone and only meet up for dinners and stuff. That would be a lovely idea, and I brought it up. His friends are British, and we are going to London. They told him some horror stories about the streets of London and how it's unsafe. Because of that, he feels uncomfortable with me roaming the streets of London alone. I explained to him that those are the worst cases, very rare, and happen in every city. I've been to London multiple times, and I visit Amsterdam at least once a month. I know the safe places and recognize red flags. It's also not as if this would be my first time traveling alone to a city. I recently went to Prague for 3 days. I was walking alone and enjoying myself, but he still doesn't want me to go. Little update. I've been trying to convince him that I will be safe alone in London and that it's kind of shitty that they couldn't tell me earlier that they would rather have me not coming with them. He finally agreed on me going and just meeting up for dinners and stuff. He told his friends now that I can join after all. One is saying it's cool, although my boyfriend now switched up on him, so I don't really know if that's the truth, and the other one hasn't responded yet. Thank you guys so much for your response. It has really given me the confidence to address it with my boyfriend. Although I'm doubting that I won't be a burden, at least I will see Hamilton in theaters and visit Anne Boleyn's grave. What can I tell you? History and theater nerd here. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Is it possible this is about someone not wanting one of the other girlfriends to go along? Maybe one of them isn't as willing to let the guys have their own time as you are, and it's getting turned into a trip for couples and not the best friends to hang out. Has your boyfriend mentioned anything? Send your boyfriend on his trip like intended. It sucks you won't be going. You could plan a trip with just you and your boyfriend for another time, or plan a trip for yourself. At the same time, he'll be gone, so you're not sitting at home feeling left out. Comment 2. I think the original no girlfriends decision ETA, the switch itself. If it had been a guy's trip from the beginning, no foul is shitty, but ultimately forgivable. But the red flag for me is inventing a reason you can't go to London on your own either. Have the friends communicated this too, or is it all coming through your BF? If it's all the friends, they're probably going to do strip clubs or something. If it's just filtered through your BF, it may be worse. And you're paying? Yeah, the whole thing smells. Now for the update. Thanks for sticking around for more of my drama. So, where do I even start? After my last update, things took a turn for the worse. My boyfriend's friend, the one who hadn't responded, well, he finally did, and it was to drop a bomb. He confessed to my boyfriend that he had feelings for me. Yeah, you read that right. The guy I've never met who lives across the ocean is into me. My boyfriend was furious, and I was just confused and embarrassed. My boyfriend didn't know what to do. He was torn between his loyalty to his friend and his relationship with me. I felt like I was in the middle of a bad soap opera. And then, In a moment of pure stupidity, I made things worse. I reached out to the friend to clear the air, thinking I could somehow fix it. Big mistake. It just made my boyfriend think there was something going on between us, which there wasn't. The argument that followed was epic. Accusations flew, and I was left feeling like the villain in my own life. I was trying to be understanding, but inside I was seething. How dare he think I would do something like that? But then, in the heat of the moment, my boyfriend said he needed a break from us. I was devastated. I spent the next few days in a daze, trying to figure out where it all went wrong. I had planned this trip to make him happy, and now I was the one left out in the cold. It was during this time that I found out the friend had been lying. He never had feelings for me. He was just trying to sabotage my relationship because he was jealous of the time my boyfriend spent with me instead of gaming online with him. When my boyfriend found out, he came back to me, apologizing for not trusting me. He was desperate, and I could see it. He had been played by his friend, and now he was begging for my forgiveness. And I forgave him. I know, it makes me look weak and desperate, but I couldn't help it. I love him, and I believe in second chances. But just when I thought we could move past it, another twist hit us. My boyfriend's other friend, the cool one, got into some serious trouble. He was caught up in a scandal at work, and it was bad. Fraud, embezzlement, the works. My boyfriend was in shock. He had no idea his friend was involved in anything like this. He felt like he didn't know his friends at all anymore. The scandal was all over the news, and my boyfriend was getting calls and texts from people asking if he knew about it. He was mortified and felt guilty by association. He started questioning his own judgment, wondering how he could have been so blind. It was a mess. In the aftermath, my boyfriend became distant. He was dealing with the shame and the fallout, and I was trying to be there for him, but it was hard. He was pushing me away, and I felt helpless. I wanted to make things better, but I didn't know how. And then, out of the blue, he asked me to marry him. It was so unexpected, and under the circumstances, it felt like a reaction to everything that was happening, rather than a genuine proposal. I didn't know what to do. I love him, but this wasn't the way I wanted it to happen. So here I am, stuck in a tough situation. Do I accept the proposal and hope for the best? Or do I tell him we need to wait until things settle down? I'm leaning toward the latter, but it's going to be a tough conversation. Anyway, that's the latest. Thanks for reading. My girlfriend cheats with her rich boss for years. But when I find out she's pregnant with his child, I tell his wife and watch her whole world crumble. My 52-year-old male girlfriend, 54-year-old female, and I have been together for 12 years, living together for 7. I recently discovered she is having an affair with her married boss. He owns the company and is quite wealthy. She is out of town right now with her parents and her daughter. When she gets back, I am ending the relationship. We currently live in a house she owns, as I sold my house 3 years ago. So I will just be taking my things and staying with a friend until I get my own place. Financially, I am very stable and will be just fine on my own, as will she. My dilemma is that I feel like letting her boss's wife know about the affair. She will likely divorce him. Maybe she already knows and doesn't care. I don't even know. And take half of the company value that he is a 50-50 owner of with his brother. We're talking millions just in her share. If I do this, I know it will have horrendous effects on my girlfriend's professional life. I'm pissed, but I don't hate her. I just don't have that in my heart. At least not right now. I have an amazing relationship with her 3 kids, who were 11, 12, and 14 when we got together. I don't want to ruin that relationship, but I also don't honestly know after this if there would even be a relationship to ruin. I'm not even sure any of that matters to me. I'd like to hear people's thoughts on what they would do here. I realize I'm going to get answers all over the place, but I could use some outside perspective. Edit for clarity. She does not know I know. She is out of town with her daughter and parents right now. This happens on Friday. Also, her kids are 22, 23, and 26 now. They all have jobs and degrees and lives. Her oldest called me on the day I found out to invite me to karaoke with her and her friends, since her mom is out of town and she knew I was home alone. That's the kind of relationship we have. Second edit. This has, in fact, been dragging on for months. I have known about her cheating for some time. I just didn't want to get into a huge story on this post. She has been lying to me about it, saying it was someone else. Someone I couldn't confirm or contact or find any information on. It didn't sit right. It all felt like a lie. I have over a decade invested in this relationship, and since this started, she has been begging for another chance and swearing she would never see this guy again. I decided to try to work it out. While she has been gone on a trip this week, I came into information that the AP is her boss, the owner of her company. All of the discrepancies and the things about her story that just didn't pass the smell test instantly made sense. It being her boss fits perfectly. All of the things I questioned make perfect sense for it to be her boss. In fact, I'm seriously appalled I didn't just figure it out. Plus, my information comes from an unimpeachable source that I will not say simply because if my girlfriend or anyone we know sees this post and puts two and two together, I refuse to betray the trust that this information was given to me with. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Your girlfriend screwed over her own professional life by ignoring appropriate work and personal boundaries and then getting caught. Whatever happens now are the consequences to her own poor choices. I am always in favor of telling someone when their partner is cheating on them. Again, you're not the one ruining anything here. It'll be the consequences to their own actions. The cheater is violating their partner's consent by not allowing them to be informed about what they're actually involved in. It's also a matter of the other person's health. Cheating can lead to bringing home STIs. In a way, not telling someone they're being cheated on is being complicit with the cheater in the lie. Maybe a compromise would be to pick the timing of telling the wife carefully. Keep in mind that as soon as you tell your girlfriend you know, she'll likely tell her boss right away. Comment 2. Of course you should tell the other betrayed spouse, OBS. She deserves the same opportunity to make informed choices for her future as you do. She deserves to have her agency restored. Now, for the update, thanks for sticking around. A lot has happened since the last post. So, she came back from her trip and I was ready to end things. But before I could, her daughter, the one who invited me to karaoke, dropped a shocker. She's pregnant, and guess who she's been seeing on the sly? Her mom's boss, the same guy. I couldn't believe it. My girlfriend's affair had just turned into a twisted family entanglement. I was reeling from the news, but I had to keep a straight face. I didn't want to cause a scene or upset her daughter, who was already stressed about the whole situation. But inside, I was a mess. I felt betrayed on a whole new level. Not only had my girlfriend cheated on me, but her daughter had also gotten involved with the same man. The next day, I confronted my girlfriend. I told her everything I knew. She broke down and said she had no idea about her daughter and her boss. I wanted to believe her, but trust was already broken. We argued, and in the heat of the moment, she admitted that she had been using me. She said she never really loved me, that I was just convenient, a good stepfather figure for her kids. That stung more than the affair. I moved out that day, went to stay with a friend. I was angry, hurt, and felt like a fool. But I wasn't going to let it end there. I decided to tell the boss's wife about the affair. Not out of spite, but because she deserved to know the truth. I found her contact information and sent her an email with everything I knew. The aftermath was immediate. She filed for divorce, and it was messy. The company got dragged into it, and the boss's brother ended up buying him out to save the business from scandal. My girlfriend lost her job, and her professional life crumbled. Her daughter was left to deal with an uncertain future, with a child on the way, and a father who was now disgraced. I heard through the grapevine that my girlfriend was struggling to find work. Her reputation in the industry was tarnished. I felt a twinge of guilt, but I reminded myself that she brought this on herself. Her actions had consequences, and not just for her. As for me, I started to rebuild my life. I found a new place, focused on my work, and began to heal. I missed her kids, but I knew that our relationships would never be the same. I had to accept that and move on. Thanks for reading. My wife and her family. try to steal my savings for their bakery dream. So I drain the account and serve her divorce papers. How do I ask my wife for a divorce? We're both quite young, 30-year-old male and 32-year-old female, respectively. We got married less than a year ago after dating for 3 years. She's wonderful in every other way. Kind, beautiful, very stable in her demeanor. Doesn't pick fights or talk poorly about anyone. And is a perfect daughter and friend. Overall, she's nice to everyone and supportive toward me. But here's the issue. She gets visibly upset with me over small things, prioritizes others over our time together, doesn't take my opinions seriously, but suddenly finds them valid when someone else suggests them, and frequently cancels our plans to help her unemployed family who live nearby. While I don't usually mind helping them, it's the frequency that's draining. Her parents and her sister's family are all jobless, though her parents are pensioners, and her sister is a stay-at-home mom. Despite their abilities, my wife often cancels our plans to assist them. This dynamic takes a toll on our life aspirations, as I aim for significant career growth, while she dreams of building a homestead and living on a farm, which we currently own. The farmhouse was purchased by her a few months before we met, and while we renovated it together after moving in, I find it difficult to feel comfortable there. Every decision about the house seems to be influenced by her family's preferences, leaving me feeling unattached to the space. I end up disliking much of what we've done to it, from the walls and floors to the new extensions. Financially, she's careless, which I'm unable to address. Despite us both working, I earn slightly more than her. We opened a joint account at her request after marriage, a decision I now regret. Previously, I saved $30,000 to $40,000 of my salary after expenses. But her spending habits prevent me from doing so now. She buys things recklessly, and I find myself unable to save as I used to. Recently, she wanted to send her father money each month to help build a garage, further impacting our financial stability. As a result, we rarely do anything enjoyable together, such as vacations, which are always postponed due to renovation work or school. We're both currently studying, although she's considering quitting. When it comes to our goals, I'm frustrated by her lack of ambition. While I don't expect us to reach unrealistic heights, I want to aim higher than she does. I enjoy studying and self-improvement, whereas she seems content with the status quo. She supports my dreams but becomes annoyed when I dedicate time to work or study, accusing me of neglecting our relationship. Despite working full-time and studying simultaneously, I find myself with no free time. And when I do try to spend time with her, she often cancels last minute for trivial reasons, such as grocery shopping with her family, leaving me feeling unappreciated and exhausted. Intimacy in our relationship is non-existent, lacking even basic affection like hand-holding or cuddling. This rejection has greatly impacted my self-esteem, as I believe myself to be fairly attractive. I'm left wondering why I married her in the first place, as I feel trapped in the situation where divorce seems inevitable, but financially complicated. Feeling so frustrated, any advice appreciated. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. You didn't realize any of this stuff after 3 years of being in a relationship with her? Did you think things would change after marriage or something? Nothing gets better after marriage. They either stay the same or get worse. I don't know why this isn't common knowledge. Comment 2. Life is too short to spend it being miserable. You should have seen these differences before you married her. Cut your losses sooner rather than later. She will always put her family first. She has shown you that repeatedly. Good luck. Now, for the update, thanks for sticking around. So here's what went down in the past couple of weeks. The other day, I came home early from work, planning to surprise my wife with dinner. But guess what? I walked into a full-blown family meeting in our living room. Her entire family was there, discussing how to use our savings to start a family business. My wife didn't even look surprised to see me. She just waved me over and said, "We're thinking of opening a bakery. Isn't that exciting?" I felt my stomach drop. Our savings? We hadn't even talked about this. I tried to protest, but her dad cut me off, saying I didn't understand the potential. I felt like a ghost in my own home, invisible and unheard. They had it all planned out, and my wife was all in. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't. She was ready to drain our account for this, without even asking me. I spent the next few days sleeping on the couch, trying to wrap my head around everything. My wife acted like nothing was wrong, like I was just being moody. She kept going on about the bakery, the family business, and how it would bring us all closer. I felt like I was losing my mind. Then, my boss called me into his office. He offered me a promotion, a real game changer. More money, more responsibility. But it meant longer hours. I was thrilled, but when I told my wife, she barely looked up from her phone. "That's nice," she said, "but don't forget we have the bakery to think about." I felt like I'd been punched. My career, my dreams, they meant nothing to her. I started to pull away, spending more time at work and with friends. I needed space to think. But then, her sister called me, crying. She said my wife was planning to quit school to run the bakery full-time. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to do something. So I made a move that changed everything. I closed our joint account. I transferred my half of the savings back into my personal account. It was the only way I could protect my future, our future. My wife was furious when she found out. She accused me of stealing from her family. But I stood my ground. I told her this wasn't what I signed up for, that we needed to talk about our marriage, about us. We had a huge fight. She said I was selfish, that I didn't care about her family. I said I felt walked all over, that my opinions didn't matter. It was ugly. We didn't speak for days after that. But then, her family's true colors showed. Her dad called me, not to yell, but to apologize. He said he didn't realize how much pressure they were putting on me, on us. He admitted they took advantage of my wife's generosity. He even offered to pay back some of the money they owed us. It was a small victory, but it felt like a weight lifted off my shoulders. Maybe there was a glimmer of hope, a chance for us to start over. But I knew things couldn't go back to how they were. I needed to make a choice for my own sanity. So I sat down with my wife. I told her I loved her, but I couldn't live like this. I asked her for a divorce. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. She cried, I cried, but deep down, I think we both knew it was coming. We're figuring out the details now. It's messy and painful, but I feel like I can breathe again. I'm not sure what the future holds, but I know I need to be true to myself. Thanks for reading. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.